So that was Brendan Rodgers there, and as you heard, being asked about is there any similarity with the Harry Maguire situation, who eventually ended up at Manchester United in his latter stages of his career at Leicester, to this situation with Fofana, still at Leicester, but with Chelsea repeatedly knocking on the door. Martin, what it does show is that, I mean, we don't know where Fofana is, where his mindset is at the moment. And Brendan's underlining the fact, we've got to be mindful of his mindset. But the player has been training with the 23s after he failed to turn up for a training session last week. We saw on match days sitting in the stand watching his teammates play. He's not going to feature tomorrow against Chelsea for Leicester, when Leicester undoubtedly would probably need him against Chelsea, the club that is reportedly trying to buy him. And yet Maguire showed you can get your big money move if you stay professional.
Yeah.
Which is what Maguire did. So should Fofana be doing the same?
He should be. Jim, I'm not here to defend him. I feel this is like a massive distraction for Leicester right now. And that's why a lot of their problems, I think, are coming from. They've got a group of players where there are contractual difficulties. This one is been a great success story until now. Fofana came in a couple of years ago from St Etienne. We all know what a wonderful player he is. We all know eventually he's going to leave Leicester. Not suggesting that Leicester is a place where it's a stepping stone, but it's become that really. Leicester, as well as they've done, Jim, a couple of fifth place finishes. Last year it fell off. The wheels fell off a little bit. They won an FA Cup. This is the most difficult period of Brendan Rodgers' managerial career right now. He doesn't seem to be able to attract players in, and he's losing his big players. So he's dug his heels in. It looks as if the player, though, has decided, look, there's one way out. There's only one way out. It looks to me like he's almost refused to play. He must be refusing to play, just reading through the lines.
So what do you think of that?
Well, I mean, that's kind of the lowest of the low. There's absolutely no way that you would do that as a professional. And there maybe should be some sort of ban here that we introduce. We've seen it over the years, though, Jim. We wouldn't be the first player that's done this. That doesn't make it right. Lots of players have refused to play in the past. I just do feel that you don't really want to stoop that low as a professional. It leaves a really bad taste in the mouth about how he's been at the club. Maybe I think Brendan needs to be maybe slightly more honest as to actually what is happening here. I think he's trying to protect the player. It doesn't look like there's a future for me at the club. I think it's best to get the best deal they can and move the player on. Is he going to continue to refuse to play? If that's the case, it looks to me it must be.
And it unstabilises Leicester, as you rightly say, in the process. What would you do with them, Simon? What would you do with this situation if you're at the top of the house at Leicester?
Well, I mean, look, Martin has taken a different tack than perhaps one would have expected him to take based upon the perception of what Martin would do to defend a player. But he's right. You're a professional footballer. What you have to do is do your job and hope that the situation resolves itself by you expressing your clear wishes without compromising what you're doing for the club that's backed you, paid your wages during a season where you were injured. Okay, you were injured on duty, and they should pay your wages, but they have paid your wages during that period of time. They invested £36.5 million to buy you from St Etienne, and you're now in a situation where a combination of your talent and Leicester City showcasing you has given an opportunity for you to move to a bigger football club. And at the cornerstone of that is you signed a 5-year deal, and that 5-year deal puts Leicester in the box seat. Now, if I were in a situation where I was the owner of Leicester City Football Club, I'd do one of two things. I would have made it absolutely unequivocally clear to the player, you're going nowhere, if that was my position. No, forget it. I don't care what you do, how you do it, what you do, and what you say to whom, and who's listening. You're not going. So you've got 3 years to go. Maybe we'll talk about it in a year's time, but this is the end of the discussion. Or, if that was too much like hard yards because it was going to lead us into a path where there was going to be a sort of Mexican standoff, then I would say to Chelsea in no unequivocal terms, this is the price. Right? It's £85 million or whatever it is. It's £85 million on the nail. And you meet that price, you have this player. So don't keep coming back and unsettling my player. Don't keep coming back and backdooring us and probably talking to the player about what salary he's going to get. Now he's going to come to Chelsea and whatever else you think you're entitled to do because you've already got an offer out there. You come to me with the money, and I'd go to the player and say, this is it. It's simple. I paid £36.5 million for you. You've doubled in value at least. You're in a big boys league now. You're going to one of the richest clubs in this country. You're going to get paid all the money in the world as a salary. So I will ask for this money and you will accept it. And you and your agent will wait until that deal is done. And in the meantime, get your backside on the training ground, play for the team like a professional footballer, or we're going to have a massive problem.
And what is if he says, no, my mind's not right?
Well, that's fine, but your mind needs to get right, doesn't it? And,
He's not prepared.
manager, you need to manage this player, because I don't think just keep giving him the excuse of not having the mindset right is the right indication to other footballers, to you as a manager. Get that player's mind right.
It seems though that he's been told you're staying, you're not going. And what he's had previous to this, apparently at St Etienne, he did the same thing there, refused to play, I believe. Now, he thinks that is going to force the hand. But I feel that there should be a ban actually in place by UEFA, where if you're going to do that, you get a 5-game ban when the new club you go to.
I agree.
And then the club buying you will say, well, look, whatever you do, Jim, don't refuse to play.
I absolutely
Because if you do that, you're not going to be able to play for us when you come here. And that should be set in stone, because that should stop this.
And that's a very good point. And I also believe that the union should come out and condemn it as well. Rather than sit there and only come out in defence of players, they do themselves some damn sight more credibility with everybody that thinks, like I do, that they're a complete and utter dysfunctional waste of time.
Why don't Leicester lean in his agent and say, tell your client, we need him at Stamford Bridge tomorrow. Tell him he's playing.
Because the agent is probably one of the biggest beneficiaries besides the player out of this transaction.
Of course.
So I don't know who his agent is.
You can see the messages coming in, Simon. There's one, no name in it. If Fofana is refusing to play, we don't know that, but if he is refusing to play, trying to force a move, Leicester should now refuse to pay his salary.
Well, I'm sure they'll fine him, right? But that's not the answer, really, is it? The answer
that doesn't touch the sides.
No, it doesn't. He doesn't care. I mean, if he's on 50, 60, 70, 80,000 pound a week, work it out. Maximum they can fine him is 6 weeks' wages.
When does a fine become a sacking?
I've done all that before, and it's a very murky set of waters, because you've got to go through a proper disciplinary situation of giving people a verbal warning, then a second verbal warning, then a first and final written warning, then a written warning, then out, and then over the horizon will come the PFA going, oh, that don't sound right.
Jim, I do feel, I feel for Brendan Rodgers in all of this, because he's taken him under his wing. He's tried to make him grow as an individual, develop him, and then it's almost like family. And then he sees this happen. It's really disappointing that he's had to go down this road.
But you just said you want Brendan to be more honest about it.
Well, I think he might have done, and we'd have understood the position a little bit more. I thought last weekend he looked like he was under real pressure in that press conference.
I mean, obviously trying to protect. They'll be thinking at the moment, get rid of him, get shot of him.
Well,
Can't be bothered with this guy.
He certainly wouldn't have been able to sit in the stand last week if it had been made clear that he was refusing to play, which seems to be the case this week.
Correct.
So, I mean, a little bit of an honesty might at times can work.
I agree. There's a turn up for the books, but I agree emphatically with that, and I also agree with the fact that Brendan Rodgers cannot be a diplomat all his life. You have to have some solid backbone to say, do as you're damn well told, right, or get thee gone, right, or go to the owners and say, I can't have him in the place. He's a distraction. He's a destructive influence. He's a waste of my time. He's a waste of my energy. I'm tired of going into press conferences and listening to the journalists loading their guns on Fofana.
There is also
the
the feeling that this could be the catalyst for their growth, to sell this player and start again. Because if there's financial issues, there's no players coming in. There doesn't seem to be any change. There's no growth, no development. Yes, I see lots of good players and everybody wants them. That's a sign of success.
Yeah.
But they need to build on what they have. Maybe it's best to just bow out on this one. I do agree with you,
Martin. Where I do have a degree of sympathy for Rodgers is he wants that money. Whatever they get.
It's coming so late now. He probably doesn't feel he can do
because the clock's ticking. So he'll have earmarked who he wants in. No doubt. And as soon as that right bid comes in, grab the money, buy so-and-so. But he can't do that at the moment.
No, but his success, he thought his success was going to come by sustaining what they had, which to battle and fight for those players, the Tillemans, the Madisons. And it looks like now he's going to lose one of them. But I think it might be for the greater gain in the future to maybe cut his losses and sell. And it's a huge profit that they can make. But then, obviously, they need to swing into action very quickly. He's going to be players down, isn't he? So Yunchu's sitting on the bench, by the way, and he's not actually getting games. Vestergaard, there are players who can come in, Jim.
Someone's got to make a decision. And that decision, I mean, Chelsea keep coming back in. It's really not difficult to say to Chelsea, I don't care how many times you knock on my door with this offer. And until you knock on my door with this offer, go forth and multiply.
Yeah. Who did you sack, incidentally? You sack a player?
Jamie Pollock.
Right.
And then
it got nasty.
I know you've been a big fan of this transfer window. But when the season starts, it's very difficult, isn't it? Look at Everton as well. Chelsea running after Gordon. You've got other clubs being chased. You don't know what's within your squad.
Well, that's a good point.
Something happens last minute and you've got to go then with what you're left.
That's a good point you're making, Martin. And in actual fact, on that very subject, Frank Lampard has just been talking. We'll try and turn around what he's been saying so you can hear it this morning on the show. In the meantime, we'll keep an eye on Fofana, not going to play for Leicester at Chelsea tomorrow, with Chelsea said to be preparing a fourth bid for Leicester's Fofana.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.